Alrighty. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Vash Harry. This is the Harry Knit. We do a lot of knitting content here. We do some fiber arts. This is the podcast episode, which is weird. I haven't filmed a podcast episode since I think 2-3 months ago. I think the last one I filmed was text message, sorry. I think the last time I filmed a podcast was like 2-3 months ago before I went to KL, I think sometime in May. So it was a very chaotic past 3 months for me. And I've talked about it in many, many videos, but I'll reiterate if this is the first one you're watching, which if it is, hi, please subscribe. We do really fun stuff here on this channel. I got married. We were very stressed out for the past 3 months, but now we're back. And I have a podcast for you, and not a lot of FOs. I think I only have one FO, and I don't really like the FO. We have a lot of WIPS. We have a lot of work in progress, which usually I try to limit to at least 3, but there's a lot more than 3, I'm going to be honest. And it's been a very interesting month. It's still August when I'm filming this. My birthday has passed. I am 27. Wow. I started filming knitting videos when I was 24, and now I'm 27. And yes, I did take a break in 2023, I'm guessing. And so it's quite a wild ride, I'm sure. And I've been on the internet since I was 17. Like, the knitting channel here has been relatively new, but I've been online for about a decade. And it's making me feel quite nostalgic for the days when I wasn't really chronically online. I did want to just touch a little bit on things that have been going on. I posted my unpopular knitting opinions a while back, and the response has been very interesting. I'm not going to say that I was surprised by the comments. I'm not. But a lot of people gave their thoughts, their opinions, and I'm really grateful for that. And it's really changed a lot of my perspective on some of the knitting unpopular opinions that I had. And I appreciate everyone that gave the time to talk and just share their thoughts in a respectful manner. And it has opened my eyes to different things that I didn't really consider. And so I feel like my opinion has changed, especially for the selling FOs. I think I didn't really think about it that way. And it's been really interesting. And I want to say thank you for that. It's important that we, I guess, look at opinions that are not just our own. And it's nice to hear other people's explanations and their own feelings. And I want to say thank you for everyone who did give me their thoughts and opinions. It has been very fascinating to see. And on note of that, I also wanted to touch a little bit on my thoughts on the balaclava, because I feel like, ooh, that one was really spicy, wasn't it? I am not anti-balaclava. I feel like I have to say that. I'm not saying it's like a symbol of hate or anything. I think more often than not, I was just a bit perplexed in my own identity and the balaclava, where I should not probably put my own feelings to that. But I will continue to listen to a lot of other perspectives of everyone for a balaclava and their ideas on it. But that being said, I do wish for everyone to be respectful. The unpopular knitting video, the second one I made, the one I posted a few weeks ago, was probably the first time ever I had to properly moderate my comment section. And it was very overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. I was very overwhelmed by seeing so many different comments. We had to be quick, and we had to remove we had to remove some comments due to Islamophobia, and we're just gonna keep it at that. I don't have the brain capacity today to talk about Islamophobia, and I don't want to do that. This is a knitting channel, and we're gonna talk about knitting. We're gonna continue to be respectful to everyone of any race, religion, ethnicity. Please, it's a knitting channel. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about before we get started on these FOs. This is a hard swerve back, but I just wanted to point that out and just kind of share my thoughts on it. I still am going to keep the video up as of now, although I am thinking of whether deleting it or not. I don't know. It's just pondering in my brain. But let's just talk about knitting. Also, my cute Uno earrings. I love them. I got them on my honeymoon and they're so cute. Anyway, let us talk about the FOs. The first one that I have here that I finished quite recently, and I know that I have not made a podcast episode for like 3 months and I should have more pieces to share, but I don't because every single time I made a piece, I have either not finished it yet or I didn't like the style and I ripped it all back up in between those 3 months. So that's why I only have one FO, and it is this hat. It hasn't even been blocked yet, and I haven't even sewn in the edges. This is a hat that I made inspired by Brunei's Tenunan, which is our traditional type of fabric, our songket, sort of. And I really like the design, but this is using super bulky weight yarn. So I think this is Rowan Big Wool in the color Yolk and cream or white. I know it's from Rowan Big Wool. And I like it in theory. I did my first time ever doing a 2-color corrugated rib. I really like it, but then I think it's just a little bit too bulky for the hat. And then I also made this little pattern that I designed, and I like it initially, but I think with the bulkiness of the yarn and how big the stitch pattern is, it's looking a lot more Christmassy than I initially intended. And because it's so bulky, I'm not able to do as many designs on it as I wanted to. So I consider this like a sample one of the hat that I'm thinking of making. I do like it in concept, I do, but it's made me inspired to try and do it in a smaller weight, like a DK or even a fingering. Time will tell if I actually do that. I'm buying a book about Brunei's golden fabrics. It's about Tenunan and the history and all about the symbolism that we have. Because our songket and our Tenunan uses a lot of geometric shapes. We use a lot of floral designs and elements, and I really like it, and I wanted to learn more about it. It's been really hard to get in contact with someone for it, so I purchased a book. We're waiting for it to arrive and hopefully be able to pick it up so I could actually design more things with this Tenunan design, because it's such a prominent figure in our culture, and I really want to include it in the hairy knit designs that we've been making. And speaking of the hairy knit designs, I honestly do not know if I'm going to continue working on this kind of pattern, at least for a hat this bulky, which is such a waste because I think it is quite soft. I like the yarn and I like the contrast. I've been looking at other DK weights. I do have white, I think from Wendy's Peter DK yarn. I used it to make a sweater before, and it's like 45% acrylic, 55% nylon or something like that. And I do have a merino DK where maybe I think it might look nice together, especially in a hat form, but I haven't swatched both of them yet. And I did try it with a white and a blue, but then I noticed the colors were just too similar to each other and it looked very blended. For a hat like this, with the pattern and the design, I really want to use colors that contrast with each other, and I don't have enough black yarn to really try it out. Plus, I think when it comes to the stitches, I prefer the look and definition of white stitches instead of black stitches. So that's one thing that I've been ruminating over, is to design a nice hat. This hat is nice, I do, and I really like corrugated ribbing. It was my first time doing it, and it's not as hard as I thought it would be. I showed it to the husband and he thought it was really pretty, and he can see the Tenunan design there. But like, I think when you can see it, like right here, you can see what I mean by it looks too bulky. So there's really no difference between the rib here and then the hat. And because of the bulkiness of this pattern, I can't really grade this for kid sizes. I look ridiculous. I can't really grade this for kid sizes, adults, adult large, and teen. So I'm thinking also in terms of ease of the person who's knitting it, and also my ease. I think we just want to have different sizes. And this is okay. It's not like the best, it's not the worst. I probably won't write this into a pattern, but at least I know that the concept's there. I probably will frog this, I'm not gonna lie. I think there's much more better uses for the wool, and it didn't take so much wool, to be honest. It took maybe half a skein each. And this wasn't the initial plan. It was not supposed to do a Tenunan hat. It was supposed to be a vest. And I'll talk about it more on the WIP section, and you'll see what I mean. I think this one, I like it. I like the crown decreases, but I think for, like, the structure is fine. I think it's the design itself that I want to fix and the yarn weight, and then I'll really see what I can do with it. And speaking of, like, the Tenunan design, initially it was going to be a vest, and I have it right here in my rolling tray. It was initially supposed to look something like this. So this was the vest version of it. I have like my stitch noodle here holding it down because I took a break from it. It's a bottom up. You can see the corrugated ribbing here at the back is much longer than the one in the front. And it was so pretty. I really, really wanted it to work, but then I did not have enough yarn. I only bought maybe, I want to say 1 or 2 balls of each color, which is about 100 grams, so about 400 grams in total of this color and then this color. And I did try to knit it. I knit it as much as I could for the back, and then I did for the front. And I got into the front shaping, did the left side, did not work for the right side. And so I think I took about a week to design this, and then I just realized I did not have enough yarn, so I had to start all over again. So I ripped it back until this section, and I honestly cannot be asked to like rip it all back because I think it's so pretty. I love the color work. I like 2-color work design so far. I've been really into like this sort of vibe. Like, I think it looks really fun. But I do know that I have a lot more use for this like yarn from Rowan. And it's so squishy too. I think it was because I went to Australia and I was wishing I brought more sweaters and more vests, that I just got really inspired to make a lot more wintry pieces with chunky wool. Because I saw so many people at Bendigo wear like really nice chunky sweaters, and I was like, oh, that looks so fun, I want to make that. Did not have the chance to. I did bring 1 chunky sweater with me. I brought the Mala sweater. By the time this video is out, it should be graded and it should be out for test knitting. If it is, I will leave a link to the Google form where you can check it out. That'd be great if you want to test knit. But yeah, this one was really nice. It was cute. I like the concept, but I think it's the same with the hat. I'm going to have to start all over again and then try with smaller, thinner needles and yarn. So this one uses, I think it was about 10 millimeters. I don't think I want to do it with this one. I think instead of DK, we're probably going to do maybe like Aran weight or worsted weight yarn. I think would look really nice with this. It's just whether or not I have enough yarn for this. So when I mean yarn, I mean like 2 different colors of the same fiber. So for example, this is of course Rowan, big wool, both of them, because I know they would fit together and they would look good together, both of them. I have been a little scared to match yarns together, admittedly. Sometimes I'm like, oh, they need to match or else it won't look good. But I know that's just my brain trying to find an excuse to buy more yarn and more colors, which is not true. I know it shouldn't be. I can mix yarns together and it should be okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this out again, and I'm probably going to use maybe like my Knitting for Olive merino, and then maybe another color that's like a cream, so I could see how it looks like as a vest. I do want to continue this pattern. I want to get the book that I was talking about so I can research a bit more on patterns and designs and the elements that we have in our own songket and our sinjangs, because I think it looks really, really pretty. I just hopefully have the time for it, because I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to I'm working a lot more on the admin side of the hairy knit lately, which means I don't really have enough time to sit down and knit, because my brain is thinking, you could do other things, you know? You could do more productive things. And sometimes my brain doesn't see knitting as productive, it's rest. And that shouldn't be the case. I should think of knitting as my rest time, and I should prioritize resting time for me. And for me, that is knitting. That is taking care of myself. That is watching a really bad Netflix show with my sister and just knitting away. And I really want to get back into that. That's kind of why we've made a little bit of a studio setup here on the ground floor, is so we can kind of separate my work life and then my home life where I'm using my knitting to rest. Tangent aside, I am going to try to figure that out. That is me doing my own thing, but it's going to be nice. It's going to be exciting, I hope. So I want to talk about one of my more recent WIPs, and this is my go-to WIP for the past, I want to say week. So I started this last week, probably. I got this yarn from Wagtail Yarns. It's called Purple Orchid, and I thought it was so beautiful. You can watch the video that I did when I was in Bendigo. It's a lace weight yarn, 2-ply, and it's like this beautiful sheer color. And the lady I was talking to, she used that yarn to make a shawl, and I thought that was really pretty. But I wasn't going to make a shawl because I knew I wouldn't really wear shawls, especially in this weather, but I liked the idea of something that was sheer and light while still being very visible. Kind of like that translucent vibe. So I took the yarns and I wound them into little balls. These were a little bit difficult to wind, I'm going to admit, because they're so thin. And I decided to make a vest. 2 years ago, I released the Awan Vest, which was using Hobby Diablo Multi, if I remember, and it was using bulky weight yarn. And for the longest time, I was thinking of making the younger sister version of her, where she's lighter and more sheerer. So I used those yarns tied together to make the Langit Vest. Langit means sky. So if Awan in Bahasa Melayu means cloud, this means sky. And she is very small. She's not done yet, obviously, and I've noticed she blocks quite a lot when she's blocked, but she is quite small compared to me, at least right now. We're working on the body now. She's actually bottom up, but I was thinking about the previous times I was knitting a vest like this, so I decided to start off with a provisional cast on instead, knit maybe about 2 inches, and then start immediately working on the body, or at least the armhole shaping, the front, and then the neckline, just so I know how it's going to look like before I work on the rest of the body. Because length can change. Length is something that you can easily adjust. I wanted to know how it would look like as the top half version. So this is what she looks like. Don't worry, once she blocks out, she'll be quite stretched out. And I'm probably going to add some I-cord edging right here on the neckline, the same way that we did for the Awan Vest. And then we'll continue to add some ribbing on the armholes just to make a really nice vest. Because I wanted a vest that was kind of sheer. The thinking is, for me, I wanted something that was super light, that you can wear out and it's still not hot. I wanted something like that for myself, so I can still wear t-shirts or shirts underneath it and still have a really nice overlaid piece. And I thought the color would be perfect for that. This isn't all the yarn. I think I have I have this much left. I had to split it because it was getting really difficult to work with 2 strands of yarn in one ball. I had to split it just for making it easier on myself, but it looks like, hopefully, and I'm hoping I do not need to stick my foot in my mouth. I do hope I have enough yarn to finish this piece because I like the idea. I really want it to work. And yeah, this is what I've been working on for probably about the past week, maybe about 5 days. I love the color, but I have noticed that because of the provisional cast on and the fact that it's quite short right now, the body in this section tends to curl a lot. So I have to be careful, especially when I was doing the 3 needle bind off for the back. I had to be really careful. And now she looks like this. And hopefully the next podcast that I do, which hopefully will be more consistent, you will see a finished piece. And I'm really excited about that. I haven't been excited in a while. A lot of my brain power has gone to a lot more personal things. So coming back and being able to think of knits that I really enjoy, I'm really happy with. And this one I'm getting really excited over. I don't want to get too excited sometimes when I'm knitting something and it doesn't turn out exactly the way I want it. I tend to have a perfectionist brain about it, and I just think, don't do that, start all over again. And that has happened to me a lot this past 3 months, I'm not gonna lie. It happens to me all the time. Even when I'm making YouTube videos, I tend to think, I use this word or I use this phrase too much. And then I get so in over my head about it. But then I think back and I'm like, most people don't really care. They just want to listen to me yap about yarn. And that helps me a lot, especially when I'm a bit anxious and nervous when I'm talking about my knitting. But this is what we have so far. I'm hoping to get it done soon. Cross my fingers, knock on wood, nothing crazy happens in the next few weeks and I can really just focus on my knitting. And I really want that to happen. And speaking of my knitting, I'm going to give you a little quick update about my Sunday sweater. You saw me working on this in the previous video, I think it was 2 months ago for the podcast. She has gotten there. She's working up pretty well. This is as much as I've gotten out of her so far when it comes to the Sunday sweater by Petite knit. It's using Drops Melody in the color, I believe it's brick or rust. It's one of the two. The initial plan was I was going to wear this for my honeymoon out in the cold Melbourne cold. Did not happen. Did not end up finishing it, but I think that's okay. I think for me, I'm probably going to finish the body because I'm still at the ribbing section, and then I'm going to take a quick break for that project because I don't plan on traveling to any cold countries anytime soon. I think the next cold place I'm planning on going won't be until next year, October. And those are just plans that are still far away in my brain. So as much as I do really like knitting this sweater, and I know that back then, 2 years ago, I could probably finish the sweater in 2 months or even 1 month. I don't have the brain capacity right now to finish that, knowing I'm probably not able to wear it out as often as I want. So it's going to be on the back burner for maybe the next 3 to 6 months, just so I know that I can focus on other projects and I don't have to worry about that. It's still going to be here. It's still going to be in my WIP corner, and I'll probably still work on it until the ribbing, and maybe I'll do the sleeves, maybe 2 at the same time. I don't think you're going to see it as an FO anytime soon, at least this year. But yeah, if you want to hear me talk a lot more about that, I'll probably have the video of the podcast, my previous podcast, where I talk a little bit more in depth about that. And then I have these that I want to show you, and I'm really sad about these socks. For some reason, earlier this month, maybe in August, last week of July, first week of August, I got really into knitting socks. I really wanted to find a new pair of socks. I was organizing my yarn stash when I was moving back into this room. And I was just getting really into socks again. I wanted to make some socks. So I decided, hello, I'm probably gonna make some socks. So I did. These are the Itty Bitty Berry socks by Stone Knits. And I remember Stone Knits because I think somebody here on YouTube kept recommending them. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna buy some because I really love the design. This is, I believe it's Parkour Kitty fibers. They're Singaporean indie dyer. This one is in Shock Pink, the main color. And the rest is from her Boost Skein collection that I got in January when my fiance at the time was in Singapore. And I was very adamant 2 years ago that I did not like socks. And I still stand by that statement. But I think the reason why is because I was using 9-inch circular needles. I think they were like Zing circular needles. And I don't like them. I switched to Magic Loop. And then my brain just completely changed the way I thought about sock knitting. And I've started to really enjoy it. And another trick that I learned was I actually started making 2 at the same time. So instead of like knitting one sock and then working on the other once the sock is complete, I decided just to do 2 at a time, but not using 2 at a time method that you see on YouTube. I decided that I was just going to just do them simultaneously. I would do them both at the same time. So if I did one rib cuff, I was going to do a rib cuff, and then I would put them on stitch holders, do the other one, work on the body, then work on this body, and just kept switching it up. Because I think I had enough needles where I could do that comfortably. And so I was in such a knitting groove working on these socks, and I really enjoyed it. But then I tried them on, and I realized my tension was too tight, and I can't fit them. So now I'm gonna have to start all over with my socks. And I'm so sad about that. I also should note that I was using 2mm needles and 2.5mm needles when the person, Stone Knits, recommended 2.25 and 2.5. And I think because I was really scared of putting in long floats, that I just tighten it every 4 to 5 stitches, and I don't think I should have done that. That is a fault of myself. I should have known. So once I start all over with this project, I am probably going to do shorter floats, and I think I'm going to go for a size up. And the reason why is I'm doing it in the size small. So I'm doing it in size 1. So I'm thinking of doing it in a size 2 instead. And I think that's the best also to accommodate the number of stitches that I have, or not the number of stitches, to accommodate the fact that I think I work a bit too tightly when it comes to colorwork socks. So that is in my brain right now. This video is about 31 minutes and my battery is dying. I think this is where we have to end the video. I'm so sorry, but nevertheless, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Vash Harry, and I will see you guys later. Okay, bye!